Traveling is my passion. Traveling the world is my passion, as you know.
I know, so you grew up in California, in suburban California.
Right.
When did the travel bug really hit you? Was it always in you, or was there a moment where you were like, I'm sort of I need to roam?
Well, I mean, when I was a little girl, I remember my our neighbors had National Geographic and seeing it for the first time, and it made a huge impact. I was like 7 years old, and on the cover was Varanasi, and I just thought the only thing I ever want to do is see incredible things like this. So I thought I wanted to be a travel agent when I was a little girl, so I could see the world. And then I thought, well, as I got more into music, that being in a rock band was a much more fun way to see the world. So really, that's the only thing I ever wanted to do since I was little. I can't remember a time when I didn't want to travel.
Really? And
Yeah.
how old were you when you felt like you made like your first good amount of money? Where, I mean, I know it's baked into being a touring musician, but where you felt you made like enough money where you could go and take like a dedicated trip on your own?
I think after Beauty and the Beat came out, I definitely was doing that. I was back and forth to Japan quite a bit because my best friend was modeling there. So I had time off and that's what I did. So and that was, I mean, I blew all my money doing that, but it was a lot of fun and it was worth it.
I've been to Japan once, and I think what
Mhm.
people don't, because in America, you're just sort of used to the idea, well, everybody everywhere speaks English, but you go somewhere like Japan and they really don't speak English, and there
They
really is
don't.
very little English like signage even. And so how did you
Exactly.
guys like, you're young, your best friend's a model. I'm sure you're like pray for, how did you navigate a foreign country like that
Well,
when the language is such a barrier?
I mean, it still is. And back then there were no, that was like 1980 and 81 when I was going quite a bit. And I mean, there were no white people there at all, no Westerners,
Really?
very, very few. Maybe in the modeling, and modeling there was, and maybe like they had these nightclubs where they have Western hosts and hostesses. So maybe with that, but it was kind of, you never really saw, Western people. So I mean, back then, I don't even know. I mean, we just did it, as we and even to present day, they don't really speak a lot of English. So you just kind of, I mean, thank God now we have Google Translator, so you can kind of,
Right.
we use that quite a bit. But back then, I don't remember. But then I was in bars quite a bit, and we
You
we
were
start
where?
our we would start our day like in Harajuku in the bars and have
Oh, the
greyhounds,
bars.
and then go shopping, take a nap, and then go out at nighttime. So our world in Tokyo back then was like very sort of, you know, lots of Western kids basically. So I don't we managed.
That's so funny. Okay,
Yeah.
for Belinda, this troublemaker, Catherine, loved the travel episodes. She says, I am lucky to travel with a good friend. We are both retired nurses. The Mexico travel episodes hit the sweet spots: culture, scenery, food, shopping, and conversation, including the quiet moments on the boat and the dry brushing. A few questions for Ms. Carlisle. How
Right.
do you find the places that you decide to travel to? Is it word of mouth from friends, travel publications, reading, or your personal interest in history and culture?
I think it comes from my passion for archaeology
Mm,
and learning about different cultures. I mean, I've always been curious. So, I mean, when I was talking about going to these Islamic countries, I mean, most of that's driven by the archaeological finds that they're making. So, that's kind of, I mean, our trips go. I mean, I go with a friend of mine, Lisa, and our trip starts a year before we actually get on the plane with research and researching travel vloggers and like what's going on in that particular part of the world. So, and then also all the archaeological finds that we're both passionate about. So that's kind of how we pick our spots.
this is such a it's so funny because I said to you in another life, like my dream job would have been to be an archaeologist. I just think
Right.
it would be the most fascinating way to just live. And like every time you see some sort of new discovery, did you happen to see in the news the other day, there was this discovery that the ancient Romans at the height of the empire, like even the slaves ate better than scholars had previously thought. Like they can go into the bones of the remains and figure
Wow.
out what the diet was, what it was composed of, how that
Wow.
maybe contributed to lifespan, health span, and the whole way the society just worked. It's
Wow.
amazing. Okay, what qualities, Belinda, do you value in a travel companion? And no pressure, because I'm interviewing you right now.
Oh God, humor. I mean, you need
Mm-hmm.
humor. Humor, flexibility,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I think that those are the two. I mean, traveling, as you mentioned, and I think in one of the other episodes, that really brings out the person. You really get to know a person
Yeah.
when you travel. I mean, I have tons of friends, but I couldn't really travel with a lot of them because I don't know if it would go so well. But but it's I think if you have flexibility and humor, you can get through, difficult moments, and you have to have a lot of patience too, and that's what I value in a traveling companion.
Agreed. Last question from Catherine. What about Mexico City did you and your husband find enticing to call it your current home?
Oh gosh. Well, we were in Thailand beforehand. We lived in 8 different countries. So we were in Thailand beforehand during the pandemic, and it got really crazy. So for us, it was like a choice of leaving because we had been locked in the country for a year and a half, or staying. And my dad had passed away. We hadn't seen our son. So it's like we could be sitting here for another year and a half easy. So we decided, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, it's time to go to Mexico. And that's what we did. So we thought, I mean, I grew up with Mexico in my childhood. We'd go on trips with my parents and my family quite a bit. So I thought we'd end up at the beach. And then our goddaughter said, "You're crazy. You should check out Mexico City." So I thought, okay, I mean, the worst that can happen is you have to move back, with any of these moves that we made to different countries. So
Mm-hmm.
when we arrived in Mexico City, it was during rainy season. I was like, what have I done? I mean, I'm too old for this. This is like too crazy. But then I woke up after the rainstorm in the morning to the most, I mean, the nature was off the charts, and I fell instantly in love with it. And since we've been here for 4.5 years, we have an amazing infrastructure. All my friends, with the exception of one, I think are Mexican, and I'm learning the language, and I want to be fully integrated by the end of next year.
Like Meghan Markle, are you on Duolingo?
I am on Duolingo, just like me, but I do Duolingo every single day. But I have teachers from Oaxaca that I do Zoom lessons 3 times a week.
Oh, awesome. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from a troublemaker named Eric. Now, Eric is a real fan. He says, Belinda, I have been a true fan of yours in real time since your perfect, wonderful 1986 debut solo album, Belinda. It is my opinion, just my opinion, that your third brilliant, gorgeous 1989 album, Runaway Horses, was indeed your first masterpiece. It only gets better. Your single from it. Oh, he's really
Fan.
into your discography. Your first single from it, Leave a Light On for Me, which we all remember, charted in the US, but then Runaway Horses seemed to be iced out and ignored from the US music industry. Why and how did you feel that in the US, the album was not invested in, or the label didn't invest in it?
I've been through this so many times with record labels where your point person leaves, or gets fired. And then whoever,
Oh,
whoever comes in has no vested interest in supporting your career. This has happened to me so many times. I mean, I've been doing this since I was 18 years old. So, it's just one of those things that happens. I think Runaway Horses, out of all the albums I've made, and I made a lot of solo albums besides, doing the Go-Gos albums, I think it's probably my favorite album. And I have to agree with him. I think it's overall, the concept is amazing. And there are so many songs on there, like Summer Rain. It was a big single in a lot of different countries, but I just didn't have the record company support. So yeah, it kind of fell by the wayside.
That's, I think that's something that the average fan, no matter how much a fan of music you are, it would never occur to you that the business side of it is so important, and that if you don't have an advocate at the label who's going to throw the building at it, you're kind of on your own.
Totally. And that's happened to me like 3 or 4 times in my career. So it's annoying, but it's like, it's just one of those things that unfortunately does happen to artists. And yeah, if you don't have like your point person that's really supportive and will go to bat for you, then you're kind of left on your own and sort of winging it. And even good management can't, you have to have the record company support to have a big hit.
Wow. Okay. 2 more before we get to our reveal of the next destination. The subject line is Heart, Belinda Carlisle. Then says, she likes to be electrocuted. Oh, my dream girl. Because you got electrocuted in Mexico City.
Why not? My Mexican friends were really impressed with that. It's a game called Tokus, and it is played in bars, and it's like for fun. And it's like, I figured, well, why not? I mean, the worst that can happen is you can be electrocuted, right?
And you were electrocuted.
And I was electrocuted. Exactly.
Today's show is sponsored by Cowboy Colostrum. Colostrum is the first milk that babies often receive from their mothers after birth. Cow babies, that is. It's often referred to as liquid gold because it is packed with proteins, natural growth factors, and antimicrobials. 3 things that can enhance your immune response, reduce inflammation, repair and balance gut lining, and reduce bloating. They can even make your hair and skin look amazing. Cowboy Colostrum offers the highest quality cow colostrum in the U.S. They don't overprocess or strip their colostrum, leaving it whole with full fat and high protein for ultimate nutrient density. And it is sourced from 100% grass-fed cows here in the United States with all natural ingredients and no artificial flavors. You can add Cowboy Colostrum to your coffee or smoothie. It is simple and easy to drink. For a limited time, our listeners get up to 25% off their entire order. Just head to cowboycolostrum.com/Maureen and use code Maureen at checkout. That's 25% off when you use code Maureen at cowboycolostrum.com/Maureen. After you purchase, they're going to ask you, where did you hear about them? Please support our show. Tell them you're a troublemaker and tell them that The Nerve sent you.